Hello everybody and welcome to r/Talesfromsecurity. Tales from physical security, loss prevention, protective services, and anyone in general who gets paid to watch people and their crap. And our first story. She didn't want to hear about her car being towed. I work security for a private business campus that has venues that are often rented by outside groups. One particularly large hall was rented by a local church group, and we sold their tickets at the box office immediately in front of the venue. Without going into boring detail, there was only one way into the hall for the general public, but numerous exits with cameras everywhere. Parking is free in all three of our parking decks, except in clearly marked reserved spaces, which will be important soon. While visitors were still arriving for the event, our dispatch center received a call from our largest campus tenant complaining that a car was parked in one of their 24/7 reserved spaces and they needed it moved ASAP. This company pays for these spaces and is constantly using them at all hours of the day and on weekends, which is why we have numerous highly visible signage for this row of spaces warning people of this fact and that towing is enforced. We reviewed camera footage and saw that the owner was a woman dressed in fine Sunday clothes that were an almost painful shade of lime green with a matching hat. This would have been enough to identify her even in our large hall, but we then noticed that she bypassed the ticket line and made her way to one of the venue exit doors. She stayed there several minutes, and when one of the cleaning staff exited, she slipped in behind them. We're not sure how she knew she could do this, by the way. As the supervisor on duty, I entered the hall and found her in one of the front rows, sitting in a group of people. She saw me coming in my security uniform and immediately scrunched up her face. Me. "Ma'am, can I—" Her, interrupting me. "Now I just sat down. What is it you want?" She was already on the defensive and loud, not a sign of innocence in my experience. Me. "I'm with campus security and I need to ask her cutting me off again. What you need to do is leave me alone. I'm sitting with my family and we're here to enjoy my nephew's concert. Ain't nothing so important you rent-a-cops need to be bothering me like this." Me. "Actually, it is important. If you wouldn't mind coming with me, we can talk in the aisle and—" Note, she thinks I'm here because she didn't buy a ticket, but I don't care less about that. I'm trying to tell her about her car before we have to tow it. This is her only chance to move it herself. Her. "No, you ain't kicking me out of here at my own nephew's church concert." Now she starts avoiding eye contact with me. Me. "Ma'am, I'm not here about how you got inside this hall. Her raising her voice even more. "I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to leave me the hell alone." At this point, it was so comical that I remember getting the biggest smile on my face and telling her, "That's all I needed to hear. Enjoy your show." I left and had her car towed immediately. 2 hours later, she reported her car stolen to our security desk. The desk officer informed her that she parked in a reserved spot and that security had tried to make contact with her before the show began, according to our log. She loudly demanded to speak to whoever was in charge, and that's when I came around the corner and introduced myself. The look on her face was priceless, and she didn't say another word as I gave her the information for the tow company's lot, which was closed by that time. Why kids shouldn't throw oranges at gorillas. So one of the more popular exhibits is our primate exhibit. This exhibit houses most of our great apes and monkeys, and is often the site of many an incident. When two different types of apes interact, things tend to go awry. Every time something happens, it is on the instigation of the apes outside the cage that are often encouraged by rowdy friends or intoxicants during events. The primates love to respond, which only encourages said dumb person. Despite their ability to protect themselves, there are still things we watch out for. People throwing stuff comes to mind. The main issue with this is that when people throw stuff in, one of two things happens. The primate will play with it, throw it back, or throw something worse back. This story involves the third result. One day I was doing my rounds when I hear a ruckus coming from the primates. One of the gorillas sounds rather upset, and I can hear giggling. Never a good combination. I make my way towards the enclosure, and as I'm turning the corner, I immediately see the issue. A young girl, about 6 or 7, throwing small clementines, many know them as cuties, towards our male gorilla. It should be noted that our male gorilla has a rather nasty disposition towards people who throw things, like any sensible animal. As I start to approach her and her group to confront them, I hear a distinctive grunt from the gorilla. I turn my head to look at him, and I see him slightly hunched forward, one hand under his butt, and a dead gaze on the girl. Oh no. Please don't. Before I could react, a large, brown, semi-solid emerges from the rear of the gorilla into his hand. In the next second, he cocks back his arm and flings a small, dog-sized excrement pile at sufficiently high speed towards the girl. Flying through the air like the world's worst water balloon, the brown mass lands its mark, square in the little girl's face. What follows is a cacophony of screaming, crying, howling, and honestly, I couldn't tell what was human and what was gorilla. Drowned out by this is the raucous laughter from the few nearby patrons, one of which is quite literally rolling on the ground. I race over to the scene while radioing for a first aid kit and notifying keepers. The girl suffered minor injuries to her nose, but overall was more disgusted than injured. She cried the entire time they were in the zoo. I was prepared to ask them to leave, but I felt they learned their lesson. I laughed about it for the rest of the day, and still think about it every time I pass the exhibit. Moral of the story, play stupid games, get stupid results. No, ma'am, you're in the men's bathroom. Hello, my brothers and sisters. Been a minute since I posted last. I feel obligated to divulge that I no longer work for the same zoo where my famous gorilla incident happened, but I am still gainfully employed in a special event security firm. Mostly we deal with local events, but we'll go out of town for events too. That brings me to my story today. For some background, one facility we monitor is a decently sized indoor stadium. 5 levels, 3 open to the public, and plenty of restaurants and stores. This is one of the main venues in town for big events, so it tends to be the place to be during event times. My main duties entail patrol of the facility along with helping posted staff as needed. My patrols start 3 hours before the event and end about an hour after. One night, during a home team NBA game, I'm walking towards the break room when I'm approached by one of the directors of operations for the stadium. He looks at me and says, "Are you busy?" Not anymore, apparently. He motions to a nearby bathroom and states, "There's a woman in a bathroom stall screaming at other patrons to get out." Simple enough. I've dealt with enough drunk patrons, and at least this one is in a bathroom while screaming. As I approach the women's side to block off entry, I start to reach for my radio to call for female backup. Sharp, hell of a policy. When the director reapproaches. She's actually in the men's bathroom. Oh boy. I finished my backup call advising dispatch that I was making contact. Apparently everyone was as bored as me because before I could knock on the stall door, my supervisor, a woman, my partner, and the other roaming group are all directly behind me. It occurs to me at this point that there are still men actively answering nature's call. I motion for my female counterparts to step out while the male patrons finish up. Now it's just me, the director, and Princess Drunk, who hasn't actually said anything, nothing coherent anyway, at all. I gingerly approach the stall door, under which I can see a set of black heels, and knock softly 3 times. "Ma'am, it's security. You okay in there?" She slurs back, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just need a minute." "Ma'am, are you aware you're in the men's restroom?" I can hear confusion in her voice when she replies, "No, I'm in the women's." I should note she was oddly calm for someone as drunk as she is. "No, ma'am, you're in the men's bathroom." "Oh, well, sorry. I just need a minute. I promise I'll leave." She seems docile, so I let her stay. I motion for a female guard to make more personal contact, while I and the director walk out to close off the bathroom temporarily. After about 5 minutes, out comes one of the saddest sights I've ever seen. A beautiful blonde woman, early 20s, dressed as pretty as she can be, comes stumbling out in tears, holding a beer in one hand, holding onto my supervisor with another. It took me a moment, but then I immediately recognized the girl. I had seen her walking in drunken circles around the stadium and called it into dispatch. I'd wondered where she went. Once she's clear of the bathroom, we reopen the entrance and I start to listen in on her and my supervisor's conversation. Although I came in a little late, this is what I heard. My super. So, who are you here with tonight, sweetheart? Drunk girl. My boyfriend, but I don't know where he is. Damn. Well, there goes my dreams. Supervisor. Okay, so do you know where your seats are? Drunk girl. Yeah, I think I've got my ticket. She proceeds to pull out a crumpled ticket, which my supervisor looks over. Sweetheart, your seats are on the other side. How'd you get over here? Soup, WTF. She's drunker than an Irishman with a lifetime supply of Guinness. She's not going to be able to tell you. Or so I thought. Then she proceeds to say the saddest thing I heard all night. Drunk girl. Well, I told my boyfriend I had to go to the bathroom, so he walked me over here. I guess he thought that the sides were different, so I walked in. I threw up a little, and the next thing I know, I hear someone knocking on the door. So wait, your boyfriend went with you? Is he anywhere nearby? The girl scans the cluster truck of people nearby and nearly breaks down in tears when she says no. The poor girl is not only embarrassed for drunkenly wandering into the wrong bathroom, but now her boo has abandoned her in a time of need. My supervisor manages to calm her down and gets an usher to walk her back to her seats. Naturally, this is when boyfriend returns. And by God, I recognize him too. He was one of the guys still in the bathroom when she was, and he just left her. The night chugs on rather uneventfully, but I'm pretty sure it didn't end well for them. Because as I saw them leave after the game, she looked sober and pissed. Well, thank you very much for listening. If you want more, let me know in the comments, and see you next time.